Hello everyone. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. This is Mentor Ana once again, your trusted mentor in starting a digital business. So it's April 21. It's past 10 o'clock in the evening. I hope that you are all doing well, especially on a Tuesday, right? I hope that you already had your nice dinner and you are all resting at this point. If this is your first time to see me go live, ako po si Ana Montesa. I'm a former accounting and finance professional. Dating isang hospital CFO na nagtrabaho sa corporate world for 15 years, turned digital business mentor and owner for 5 years. So we are actually streaming live on my Facebook page, my LinkedIn profile, and my YouTube channel. So if this is your first time to see me go live, feel free to drop in wherever you are watching right now. So for tonight, I wanted to talk about something that's related to our mindset. That's why for tonight, I just wanted to tell this to you that you don't need to feel 100% ready. You just need to move, right? And, I just wanted to ask you about this very important question. Maybe you have experienced this also. How many times have you told yourself na I'll start when I feel ready, right? Or I'll do this one thing when I feel more confident about doing it, right? And sometimes it really sounds responsible, right? When you hear yourself na sabihin mo yon yung mga katagang iyon, right? And pero no, kung ikaw ay magpapakatotoo sa iyong sarili, that mindset is actually what really keeps us, a lot of people stay stuck with where they are, right? So, ano nga ba kasi ang ibig sabihin ng salitang ready, right? Ano ba talaga ang pinakakahulugan ng salitang ready? Well, for most people, it actually means na kapag ready ka, you don't feel any fear at all, right? When you feel ready, wala kang duda na nararamdaman sa sarili mo. You have 100% confidence with yourself, right? You have that 1,000% complete clarity kung ano ba talaga yung mga gagawin mo, right? But that version of ready, yung minensya ko kanina, almost never comes, right? So what happens is, when you keep on, asking yourself and telling yourself na ito yung gagawin ko siya kapag ready na ako, I'm confident, I'm perfect. What happens is you keep on waiting and waiting and waiting until that perfect timing never really comes. Right? What also happens is you keep on delaying kung ano ba talaga yung mga dapat mong gawin in the first place. And of course, you also overthink, right? What happens is it turns into days, to weeks, to months, to years na lumagpas na nang hindi ka pa rin gumagalaw dun sa dapat mong gawin, right? So ilan ba dito sa atin ang also, also experienced that whenever you try to start doing something new in your life, right? It make you, give yourself a lot of conditions kung kailan mo talaga gagawin yung gusto mong gawin. Right? So I just wanted to really invite you to think about your own life. For example, when you started to apply for your first job, right? Nung nag-apply ka dun sa position na in-apply mo, were you 100% ready? Right? We know that when we apply in a certain job, may mga requirements yan. But still, you applied for that job. So when you apply for that job, were you 100% ready? Right? Nung na-promote ka, or when you were offered a promotion dun sa trabaho mo, right? Did you already know kung ano ba yung mga dapat mong matutunan along the way? Diba usually, it really happens na you accept the promotion and then you learn as you move along, right? And at the same time, when you started something new, did you also notice yourself? Did you also feel 100% confident? Right? So, hindi ito maliban sa usapang sa career. It can be like you wanted to change your lifestyle, yung fitness mo, yung anything, right? Were you 100% ready or confident dun sa decision mo? Right? And maybe for those who are watching or will catch us on the replay, most of the time, the answer is always no. So what happens, right, is you move forward first and then you learn along the way. And that's actually paano tayo nag-grow as human, right? And that's actually where growth really works. Hindi yung nag-stay stuck ka and then you expect yourself to grow, right? When you stay still and you're doing nothing. So maybe the problem is really not that you are not ready. Maybe ang problema talaga is you are expecting readiness to come before the movement. I know I'm also guilty about that because I've also, I've also seen myself na ganun din yung reaction ko. And maybe that's also one of your reactions, right? But what happens is in reality, yung readiness that we are expecting is really created by the movement that we are doing. So I just wanted to give you some, ways if you really wanted to do something in your life, right? And you are still stuck wherever you are. So I just wanted to share with you some of this. I have 3 tips for you tonight. So number one is, again, you don't need to feel full confidence, like 100% of all the time. You just need a small step. So if there comes a point that you need to decide on something, for example, it can be anything in your life. Sometimes you see when we try to really overthink things, right? We try to think of ano mga pwedeng scenario, ano pwede mong gawin, ano pwede maging effect, ano pwede maging consequences, and then you keep on overthinking. What happens is, ito yung tinatawag natin na overanalysis leads to paralysis. So what I've learned is instead of you thinking about so many things over and over and over again, that you tend to really focus on ano bang pwedeng mangyari, you keep on planning and planning, is you try to just focus on one small step na kailangan mong gawin in order for you to move from one point to the next. So then hindi mo naman kailangang i-figure things out everything. So just like dun sa example ko kanina na if you are applying for a certain job or you are getting promoted, hindi mo naman talaga 'di ba natututunan lahat nung parte, nung role that you are applying for or yung next role that you were promoted. Because what happens is you are going to, learn that as you go along with your career, right? So just try asking yourself, ano ba yung smallest step that I can take today, right? So hindi mo kailangang i-overthink. Huwag ka munang mag-advance sa step number 10. All you need to figure right now is yung step number 1. Right? So it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. But what's important is hindi rin siya malaking huge step kung saan ka man papunta. Ang pinaka-importante is just focus on that one small step, right? To move your self from one point to another. And when you do that, that actually makes you feel more confident, right? Because you are thinking about kaya naman pala, posible naman pala because I focused on that one small step, right? The second one is fear is part of growth and not a signal to stop, right? So think about those times when you finally decided to, right? For example, you wanted to apply to another position, right? So sometimes when we're doing it, because we feel like part of us, we are afraid, right? Part of us, we are afraid. Pero part of us, we know it deep inside that if we take that uncertain step or do something new or start a new position or start a new project or start anything, something new, meron talagang uncertainty. But we know it deep inside. Now we are afraid because this is something that is really important to us, right? So if this is something that really matters to you, it will really feel uncomfortable, especially if it's the first time that you're going to do it, right? So, and I just wanted to remind you, if you're feeling that same way, that you are also uncomfortable, that's just a normal part of our reaction to things that we haven't done before, or our own body's reaction to, being able to experience new things that we haven't experienced before, right? So just try to, instead of avoiding yung mga uncomfortable things that you have been avoiding or avoiding discomfort, is you expect it and move it anyway. Diba? So parang alam naman natin na yun yung mangyayari. But since that what we are trying to do is something that's very important to us, we move, right? And do it anyway. Right? Now, the third is, pinaka-importante, action creates clarity. So a lot of people really wait for clarity bago sila magsimula into starting something, anything, right? So, but actually, based from my own experience, maybe for most of you have also tried this, diba? When you are being faced, for example, you're going to make a decision in your life. Sabi ko nga kanina, diba, if we keep on overthinking things, what happens is we overanalyze, and that's where we get paralyzed with making our own decisions. But when you try to move one step further, that's actually where clarity happens. Clarity meaning, doon mo malalaman na hindi naman pala talaga totoo yung mga naiisip mo, right? Because sometimes, well, most of the time, that's actually how our brain really works, that when we are being faced with something uncertain, our mind is really there to always keep us safe or to always protect us. So if you're feeling that fear inside of you, our mind will, give us so many reasons why you shouldn't do that in the first place. Why? Because that is its main purpose, to keep you safe, to keep you stay where you are familiar, right? But when you actually do something for the first time, even though you are afraid, even though you are, sabihin natin may konting duda or uncertainty, and after you do it, right, malalaman mo na hindi naman pala ganun kasama. Right? So maybe classic example of this one, since naisip ko lang to, na if you're also like, gusto mo ring umakyat ng mga bundok, that's actually one of my hobbies lately. So there was also a time that I thought that I cannot really climb a mountain, right? Because of course, if this is your first time to climb up a mountain, ang daming pumapasok sa isip mo na, baka hindi safe, baka delikado, baka walang safety, so on and so forth. And, when I came at the age of late 30s, akala ko hindi ko na kaya. Of course, part part in our physical body, when you reach that age, minsan nagbabago na rin yung ating body, yung ating, what you call that, yung ating metabolism, right? So just a few years ago, I thought I can't do it, But then, instead of me, staying stuck and not doing the thing that I really wanted, I took that challenge, and I decided to go to Bukidnon and, do that mountain climbing, or hiking rather. So after doing that hard climb, no, it was really, let's say 70% yung pataas sa pababa. So pag natapos mo na, after I really went down, no, tapos na namin yung buong trail, that's actually where I get to see yung clarity na kaya ko naman palang gawin yung isang bagay, no? And, it's just really created by my mind. And since then, when I finished that, the more that it really, reinforces na kaya ko man talaga umakyat ng mga mountain, or doing something extreme in my life, something that will make me feel more alive. So just to, invite you also to think about this. For example, if you wanted to learn something new, you wanted to try an extreme sports, for example, you wanted to try a new business, for example, you wanted to try a new industry or a new career, or a new position, right? Just try to apply, learn something. And you can start by doing something that you haven't done before. So, kunyari, if you haven't done mountain climbing or yung hiking, ganun, maybe you might want to start doing workouts, right? Or reading something about hiking or anything to equip yourself. And even those yung mga small na nalalaman mo every single day that will actually, build your confidence later on. And doon mo makikita na instead of feeding yourself dun sa negative thoughts that you're thinking about, no, that's your negative mindset. Why not focus on, feeding your mind to learn the possibility of trying something new, right? Because when you try something new, you are telling your mind that it is possible. And when you take action, that's actually where you're going to solidify na kaya mo naman pala talaga yung isang bagay na yon because you take action, right? So, ito, just to share with you also, I've also experienced this myself, that there were a lot of times that I didn't feel ready to try something new. Like, some of the things that I've tried in my career, um, I've really experienced a lot of times na nanginginig ako, but I did it anyway. And you know what? The feeling, right? The feeling of being able to do it despite you are so scared. Para lang yung roller coaster, right? Na kala mo nakakatakot, but then after that, you feel like you wanted to do it again and again and again, right? But what happens is when I stopped waiting and started, taking small steps, like in my career, like trying extreme sports or starting a business, unti-unti, because you will gain knowledge along the way, you will learn more, you will learn something more about yourself, right? When you do something you haven't done before, and you will feel proud. And what happens is things slowly starting to, get clearer and clearer and clearer. But of course, dito nangyayari overnight, no? So there will be times you will fail, right? And you will learn out of that experience. But one thing that is really important is you take action, right? And that will give you more clarity on what you can do next time, right? So let me ask you, what have you been delaying in your life? Because you are waiting to feel 100% ready, you're waiting to be 100% confident. And ano ba yung pwedeng mangyari, right? If you finally allowed yourself to really take that one small step. Will it be better? Will it make you happier? Will it give you more fulfillment? Will it make you feel more proud about yourself? Right? So I just wanted to invite you again to reflect on this one. If something in you has been really telling you to grow, right? Something is really inside of you that is telling you to try something new, anything that you really, 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 really wanted to try, right? Or you wanted to change your direction, kung ano man yun, right? Do not ignore that. Do not ignore that. And again, ang pinaka-importante is you don't really need to have everything figured it out. Because usually yung naging reaction natin, we tend to hold back because we haven't seen the entire picture yet. Right? Isa din sa pinaka-importante natutunan ko in being here, moving forward, doing the business full time is I also didn't figure it out everything at once, right? But what really helped me to keep on moving forward, even though I'm not 100% ready, is I just focus on that one small step that I need to work on myself, on my business, so that, the next step. What happens is whenever you move one step forward, the next step becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. Right? And of course, ang pinaka-importante is really taking that first step. Minsan yun lang din talaga ang pinaka-importante for us to begin something new. Right? And I just wanted to remind you tonight before we end this episode is, again, you don't need to feel 100% ready. Ang importante is you just need to move from one point to where you want to go. So that's it for tonight. So I hope I was able to give you value and inspire you, right, to try something new once and for all in your life, right? And do not hold back. Do not be held back by your fear or doubts, right? Because it's just normal, no? But we just have to, sabi nga, face the fear and do it anyway. Right? So thank you for tonight. Thank you for being here with me. Once again, this is Mentor Anna, and I'll see you again soon on my next Go Live. Thank you for watching.